What if every thought that got in the way of you being the person that you desire was actually a lie that was meant to stop you? And what if the thoughts that you have, you don't have to accept them, you can change them? I know that this may sound like something you've heard before because it was something I've heard before in many instances. But recently, it all clicked for me in a way that was different. And so I wanted to share with you today what I got from really embodying what that means and applying it to my life. I've been on a personal development journey. The quotes are under maybe since 2019 ish, but not really fully, and not in a place where I was being compassionate with myself through my growth. It started off being very judgmental and harsh on myself. I was going through these cycles of just being in judgment. Why did you do this? Oh, this is how it always is for you. And I was forcing or hammering a change in myself rather than opening myself up to the possibility of growth, whatever that may look like. 20, 23, 24, 25, and even now have been totally different. I've gone deeper into my development because I realized that there was so much buried under what I was attempting to do in my life that I could have the best beliefs, I could have the best spiritual life, I could have even proof sitting right in front of me. But the things that were buried there, the beliefs that I actually held as true, would be the things that created my results. This showed up for me today because I was on a call for a mindset challenge that we're doing this week with a coach. And she is basically like breaking all the limiting beliefs, past thoughts, negative thoughts that we've ever had about anything in business, and she's just turning it on its head. I've heard your thoughts become your beliefs, but I don't know if you're like me. In the past, I've been a bit of a skeptic. Like, I'm not the person who believes what other people say just right off the bat. There's probably some exploration there. It could be something as simple as going to the doctor and they give a diagnosis, and I'm like, did you really just you're just pushing antibiotics? You don't really know if it's this. You're just giving something to treat everything, but you really don't know what it is. So I'm skeptical or let me say this, I have been skeptical of a lot of things. So just telling me random affirmations is not going to work for me. It may be something, some phenomenon or some term around this where you know too much to believe certain things, or you just have this natural wall up where it's like, if you don't show me real proof, you can't just tell me anything, because my mind is like, well, where's the proof? Where's the connection? What backs it up? What did you actually do to get there? In a sense, although I identify as creative, I do have an analytical side to me. And when it makes sense, I can do it. I can get behind it. But when it doesn't make sense, I can't get behind it because my mind is still trying to reconcile how does that make sense. Same thing with the whole believe in yourself type thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds good, but something about it doesn't stick for me because I can't get past whatever is blocking the thought from clicking. Today, I felt like that clicked. The coach is walking us through this exercise, this model that she has or that she's certified in. And it's all about challenging any thoughts that you've had that stopped you. It was so empowering because it made me recognize like any thought is up for consideration and shifting. We read about it in the Bible, which I just actually learned the second half of the verse that says, take every thought captive. And I never saw the last part of it or noticed the last part of it, and make it obedient to Christ. I just wonder how many people, from my experience, And I'll be honest, I won't even blame it on religion as a whole. I think a lot of times we say that, oh, religion didn't teach me this. I also didn't seek the information in the Bible. So that's it's a two-way street. Yes, it should be talked about more, and we should have more exposure to how to actually live out the things in the Bible and what the Bible actually says, and not just go based on interpretation. And it's also on us as believers to seek out the word for ourselves. That is not necessarily planted in us when we decide to give our lives over to Christ. And especially for those of us who feel like we didn't really have a choice. You know what I'm saying? If you grew up in church, you got baptized, like there was really no choice in that. Not that I had any different, not that I would have made a different choice. I'm just saying there was no moment where it was like, oh my gosh, I came to Christ, because I grew up in Christ. You know what I'm saying? So it just was a part of my being, in which that can become routine. You go to church, you do this, when there's no real inciting incident. It just is a part of who you are. Then you realize, oh, I never really got into relationship. I didn't know about like all the other pieces. And I think that's an opportunity for when people come to Christ, is to show them how to actually live out what they believe on a day-to-day basis. Yes, you tell them to come to Bible study. I remember when I joined my church in college, they tell you come to Bible study. And of course, I already knew those things because I had been doing them. And what about how to teach people what to do? Like, hey, I think it would be great to be like, give them a Bible in a year plan. Your first year as a believer, here's your curriculum. You know what I'm saying? That you should be reading and studying. And I know we go to Bible study now is like, a mini church service, but it would be great to have a space where people can actually talk and dissect and wrestle, with the word, so that it becomes a part of who we are and not just a performance that we receive on a particular day, go home, and then go back to the same limiting beliefs. That's what I'm really getting at here. And what I noticed was a block for me. It's easy to believe in things outside of you, and then it's more difficult but that's for me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how I can live as well. So even down to that verse, take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. That's the foundation of what people are saying when they say your thoughts can, you can shift your thoughts. You can change how you believe. What we would say is make it obedient to Christ, right? But that is everybody has that capability. With that in mind, you get to take more power and dominion over your assignment and over your actions if we embody it. So when she explained this to us today, and I was just sharing some different things that I know I deal with, thoughts that come up for me, oh, well, this isn't going to work, or I've already done this before and it didn't work then, or people, we were talking about like audiences and lead generation, making sales and all these things. And I'm like, well, I've done these things before, stories. And she's like, and she went through a few other people's examples, and she's like, you can just change these stories. Like, the stories are creating the outcomes, which again is something that I've heard before, but something went off when she said, you can retrain your mind to think what you want it to believe. I wish I could say this better of like how it really hit me today, that I'm like, oh, matter of fact, let me see what I wrote down. She had said, you can't afford to think certain things. And that was so powerful. Like, you can't afford to think these things. How many times do we go, I'm a chronic recovering person of this, going round and round about the same thoughts over and over again. And you think, okay, I can just think my way out of this, but it's not just replace it with another thought. Like, I think this is what hit it for me. At a systemic level, you have to change the thoughts, like make it obedient to Christ, which again is a line for me in my life and for a life of a believer, should be in line with the things that you're doing, that what you're called to do, your assignment, what you're meant to have dominion over. Make it obedient to that. So on the basic level, my book, for example, my second book, this really isn't making sense. I don't know if people are going to get this, da, 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 da. No, like, instead of just going back and forth and going to war with that thought, like, oh, this comes up and I just say, oh, well, people are going to want to buy this. That's not true. Just these soft things. It's like, no, here are all the reasons why this makes sense. I think that's what hit me with what she said too. She was like, I just made a list. She was talking about her own example. I made a list of all the reasons why people will want to do this. Jackson, quiet down, please. I don't know if y'all can hear all that, but hopefully not. She wrote down all the reasons why the thing would work and like sold herself. She says this, she sold herself on the idea that it would work. How many of us are selling ourselves on the idea that it will work? Like not just doing random affirmations and performing it, but like really creating a whole dossier. We create a whole list of why the things won't work, thoughts why the things won't work. We got talk tracks on why the things won't work. What if we put that same energy into why it would work? Because as she said, and I've seen this before with some examples with other people, what you've been thinking before is what got you to this very point. So it didn't work. So there's no need to keep holding on to the story that don't work. Let it go. We should be the most open people to a new story if we just have gone through all these reasons why it would not work. Oh, well, my people are this, or like all of that is just like up for change. Not just in business, but in life. It's all up for change. It's all up for having a new thought. And something else she said was like any thoughts or urges, like you believe those things that come up in your mind. And most people will be like, well, why do I keep thinking this? I don't know why I keep going back to this. Because you are allowing yourself to go back to it. Changing a thought is hard. I had to sit with this discomfort just yesterday about something where I was like, oh, this is not something that I want to do. But then today, when I woke up this morning, I felt like a brand new person. It felt so light. After going years of carrying a thing, yes, it's hard in that moment to face it and to be like, look, I'm just going to have to walk through this. I'm going to have to take the pain that comes with it. She likens it to getting a vaccine. It's like you just got to war through it. And then on the other side, you'll be okay. The years you spent of your life being miserable, carrying a thing that's not serving you is worth one moment in time where it feels uncomfortable, but to get rid of it once and for all so that either the next day is completely gone or it's just a little bit smaller. Every single time that you say no, every single time you say, I'm not going to give in to that thought. Actually, that's not true. Like you can say that to yourself, which I think is so good. It's so good of a reminder because we as humans, our brain wants to keep us safe. So it's going to tell us things that keep us in the situation that we are in. It goes back to what I've said before. All this stuff is just really made up. Like the situations that we're sitting in right now are made up. It's made up. There's no rule book that's written to create your demise. Like, no, that doesn't exist. Everything is made up. And we don't hold the story. We didn't design the earth. But I do think it's interesting, and this comes from the Exodus story, how, and I don't know if I've told this story before, so if you heard it, you're about to hear it again, how the journey was like, I think 2 weeks long or something like that from them for the whole entire Exodus journey. But it ended up taking the children of Israel 40 years to finally get to their promised land. And that's just, to me, the way that I see it. This is personally the way that I see it. I'm not a theologian. I'm not any of that. I'm just speaking to you from my experience, which can also change. So be graceful. But the way that I see it today is that they were not waiting on God, because he already created a path that was only 2 weeks long. They were disobedient, which extended their time. So I'm like, I'm not challenging, but I'm reconciling. What does divine time actually mean? Is it, I'm waiting for something to happen, or has it not happened because I haven't come into alignment with what I need to be in order to step into the thing? So is there some portion of this that is within my control? I think so. That we're not all just waiting for God to tell us the next thing. Sometimes he's waiting for us to become who we need to be. Like, they needed to get out of idolatry. They needed to stop, complaining because, oh, we're hungry. Oh, we want meat. We want this. Like, all of that showed they weren't the people that were ready to step fully into the land. So we're saying we want this, God, we want da 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 da. And he's like, but what are you doing to be that? You can't step into that until you have become the person ready for that, which is in our hands. He's going to be gracious. He's going to still bless us in those seasons. But it's like, you have to do something here. And the more that you're holding on to whatever that golden calf, whatever the case is that you're holding on to, that's you delaying the time. So I would submit that we have more control than we think over a lot of things. More control than we give ourselves. We put all the onus on God to do everything. Like he's going to wake us up and puppet string us along our day. But he's given us control. He created us to be human beings in the complex way he did for a reason. We're not a cat, you know what I'm saying, that can't speak up, that has no ability to type on a computer. Like, if you were supposed to be a tree, you would be a tree. Like, if you were supposed to be a cat, you would be a cat, but you're a human being. So that must mean he has a certain capability and expectation of you in order to achieve what he wants to do in the earth. So the thoughts that get in the way of that, it's not just a matter of laying down and saying, oh my gosh, these thoughts, why, I can't do anything about it. But you can, because it's written in the word that you have the capability to take the thoughts captive and make them obedient to Christ. So that means you can exercise that belief. Don't just read about it. That's what I have to remind myself. Exercise it. Do it. And that can become challenging because, as I mentioned, in our religious world, a lot of people don't do what they read. They know about God and they might know the Bible cover to cover, but they don't live what is written in the Bible. They live in fear. They live in lack mindset. They live in believing that they don't have an inheritance or an assignment here on earth to fulfill. I think that's a miss. So that's what was challenging for me today. That was what came up for me, like, ooh, that clicked. Like, every thought. I committed that this is just a lifestyle now. I'm going to be, she calls it being on to yourself, but I'm going to be more aware of the thoughts that I have. And if they're not serving me, I'm willing to shift them. I'm not going to let them stew. I would let a thought stew before and just carry it, I liken it to if you ever have maybe like some type of pain, right? Matter of fact, I know what it is. For me, it's allergies. And maybe I'll do my video on this, talking about this a little bit tomorrow if something else doesn't come up. I started taking my allergy medicine consistently for like a week or so because I was feeling like some mucus and I was like, I don't got time for this. So I started taking my allergy medicine consistently. I haven't in the past, again, partially skeptic, like, do you really need to do this every single day? But I would be around here having symptoms every day. I don't have seasonal allergies. Any day I'm alive is a day that allergies can attack me, right? It's a life thing, right? For me, that could shift. But anyway, I started taking it and I had no issues, like no stuffiness, no like cracking, no like drainage. I was feeling like a normal person. Do you know I stopped taking that medicine and started sniffling again? I was like, oh. But then it reminded me like what I felt like before. I'm like, oh, the medicine actually works. And you get to see, I talk about like the mirror example because cleaning my mirror is like, whoa, you start to see like, oh my gosh, this is a good mirror. I didn't even notice all the spots that were on it before until I cleaned it off. I'm like, I didn't even know I could breathe every day like this if I took my medicine. I didn't know I didn't have to wake up every day with my throat dry because I couldn't breathe through my nose. Like, I didn't even know that was possible until I started taking the medicine. And then when I didn't, it slipped right back. Reminder to take my medicine today. But that's similar. It's like we get along through life sniffling. We get along through life not being able to breathe at night through your nose. I should be there. Not being able to breathe through your nose at night. We get along cracking and, having to put Vaseline and stuff on your nose because it's dried out and all the things going on. We just find ways to bandage the situation instead of just doing the things repeatedly to feel how you actually want to feel. Instead of putting bandages over the thoughts and just taking a hit, it's like, gut punch. Some of these thoughts be like a uppercut and it's like you just take it. And for me, who's someone who's like, I just keep coming back, I'm just back then they didn't want me. Now I'm high, they all on me. Just coming back, come back, kid. So it's like I take it and I keep on going. But what if you ducked? What if you, finally got your senses and leaned back a little bit so you didn't have to take that hit? You don't have to normalize. Woo! This is so good. Okay. I'm telling this to myself. Kirsten, you don't have to normalize taking hits in your life or struggling in certain areas to prove that you can have something. You don't have to normalize struggle. Well, I'm just getting through it. Well, these just are my allergies. This is just what it is. Why? Oh, well, this is just what happens. Going back to the audience thing, people just don't see me. So I just have to do more for people to see me. Why? This doesn't work for me. So I just have to do more. Why? What if not? What if you do not have to keep taking these punches that you keep walking with and just duck or walk a whole nother path that doesn't have punches on it? You know what I'm saying? Like that is a possibility as well. And I think it's just such a good awakening to get out of that pathway, that cycle. I think about family members of mine that are still like in certain situations and I'm like, why? Because that's all they talk about. That's all they think that can happen. That's all they think is they're going to be in money problems, that it's always something. That's what they're saying. It's not actually always something. That's the path that you keep walking yourself in and out through, like in and out through. But if you took the pain and discomfort, like I said, it might be a day of pain to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I created this. It's going to hurt. But I promise you it'll be worth the years and decades or whatever that you've been walking around or taking punch after punch and crawling your way through to something than to just say, you know what? I'm no longer walking down this path that keeps punching me. I'm just not. I'm no longer available for this. Going back to what I said yesterday, I'm just complete with this. I'm complete with this path. I'm complete with this thought. What else is serving me right now? And go and do that. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments on this. What thoughts right now for you? And she even said, like, it was so crazy when people would say things that literally I have thought too, like, oh, well, how do you normalize not being comfortable with failure or something like that? Someone said, and I'm like, I've definitely thought about that. Like, it's this cycle that you're just in. She said, you're actually not comfortable with failure. You're comfortable with shame. And I'm like, oh, God, dog it. It was like nothing that anybody could have said that she would have been like, oh, yeah, that's true. Like, no. Nothing is actually true, because at the end of the day, one of my other mentors says this, like, if it isn't 100% fact, then it's not true. So like, you can't say, oh, nobody does well on Instagram right now when there are people that do. You can't say, oh, no, everybody's broke and nobody's, able to pay their bills right now. That's not true, because there are people who can. Jackson, sorry. There are people who can. So that's not true. Only operate on what's the absolute truth. And I think what we will find is that there are very few things that are absolutely 100% true. Like she says, like, the sky is blue. Like, that's the actual truth right now, because I can look at it. It is blue. But somewhere it might be gray. So even that is like, it's up to perspective. It is up to perspective. And we get to plug in. The world does not run us. I think that's another thing that's even biblical. Genesis, he put humans in the earth to subdue everything. The birds, the fishes, all the things that he had created in the earth in that time. So the world does not change us. We get to change the world. The world doesn't give us our perspective. We get to shift what that perspective is. So if it's not what you want it to be, don't lie down and accept it and just keep saying, well, this is just who I am. Just change it. Don't sit in the shame of the mistakes. Like, okay, I can change this. I can change this. God has given me the power to change this. I get to close the door on this situation. Jack Shacks, please quiet down while I finish this. Hopefully it's not too much singing in the background, but if it is what it is. He's given me the power to change this. All I have to do is accept it. That's it. God's going to turn it around? Absolutely. But as I said, as Bishop Jake said, that will always stick with me, sometimes we are praying for things that we absolutely have the ability to do as well. Yes, God can change around an instance, but you can change a thought. You can believe in the things that he's giving you. That will probably get you pretty far. So that he actually has something to work with and to do something with. I think we don't give him enough. I really don't think we give him enough to work with. We give enough beggy prayers, desperate prayers. But do we give him enough action to work with? Do we give him enough like big, bold faith to work with? Or are we just still over here? Oh, okay, we need a client, we need this, we need a car, we need a job. It's like, yes, he can do that. But yes, you can do that. He's giving you the power to do that. He's giving you the power to create wealth. He's giving you a sound mind. So there's a lot we can do. And I don't think there's anything wrong with understanding and accepting that, because it makes us better as believers. I don't know if I said this on a video or I was just thinking through it, but I'm like, people who do personal development work and are also believers should be the baddest people out here. Like, should be literally the baddest people out here, because there are folks who just do personal development and they kill it. And they literally have nothing backing them other than belief in themselves. And then you have believers who, again, like I said, know the word, know all the things, but yet don't believe in the power of what they can do as well through God. Everything is through God. Our breath, like, he handles the stuff that keeps us alive. We can't control our breath. We can't control our organ functions. And he does all of that. So you mean to tell me he done kept you through the night, through the 8 hours, how many ever hours you got? He done woke you up this morning and you can't do anything to move forward what he's called you to do? Impossible. So we ought to be the baddest people. The people who work on ourselves, who get out of our own way and have a faith background that we stand on. So we're not doing things in silos. We're not believing in ourselves or bank ourselves, this our own provider, our own source. No, we're believing in the power that we have. And then we also believe in the power that has created us. We should be the baddest people to ever take over any industry, to do any business, to do whatever. Because we've got everything backing us. I don't think none of us I'm not going to say none. I don't think all of us understand it to that level. And that's what I am walking through. That's what's showing up for me. And that's what's being awakened in me as I continue my own journey through this mindset stuff, through getting out whatever stories and junk. It's like, we don't mind, people get skeptical about like certain things mindset wise and all of that, but nobody talks about how all of the stuff that we've seen and been through, all of the negative stuff that was implanted into us in our minds and our beliefs, all these situations that just had us tied to lack. Who was standing up and saying, this is wrong? I didn't hear many people saying that. So if it takes more to undo some of those things, I don't see any issue with that. I don't see why you wouldn't want to shift negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Now, there is a way to do it. Absolutely. There's a way to do it in alignment with the beliefs that I have. I'm going to say that we have, if you are similar to me. So there's that. But there's no reason we should still be stuck in some of these trash mindsets, trash behaviors, trash thoughts, and then sitting up here trying to build something. Like, we got to get rid of all that. It's like going to therapy. Like, that just became a thing that people were accepting now these days. But like, going to therapy is a thing, because we are carrying things that we were never meant to carry. So having things like therapy and resources that are in alignment are important to actually see and lay hold, be able to actually hold what's being given to you. You can keep praying for miracles, but if you keep putting in a leaky bucket, they just siphon right on out every single time. Gone, gone, gone. Always looking for a miracle. Put holes in your bucket. Plug the holes in your bucket. I have to tell this to myself. That's why the whole credit card thing that I talked about yesterday, I had to do. Why are you praying for increase when you are not managing the things that you have well? Holes in your bucket. That's not about continuing to ask for more, ask for more, ask for more. What are you doing to protect the more? That's an action. And that's not, for me, it wasn't just, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to force myself to do it. But what beliefs was I having about it that I needed to challenge, that I needed to really bring up? That I needed to, pray about, that I needed to speak more openly about, that I needed to challenge myself about. All of that. so that my bucket could be whole? How could I pray on things that I don't even want to talk about? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I pray on something that I don't even accept as a problem? That I don't even open myself up to change because I don't even become aware of it. Like, all of that is important. So again, there's ways to do it in alignment, but I just think it's so important. Even in the Bible, Proverbs 31 woman, in the Amplified version, it talks about, I need to have my Bible up so I can actually pull it out. But it talks about her strength, and it says spiritual, mental, physical, like all area, emotional, I believe it says, like all areas she works on her strength. So we have to do the work in alignment with the faith that we say we have. And whatever is getting in the way, we should be willing to do the work to get it out of the way. We shouldn't just be accepting and let it just happen and say, oh, the devil's after me. Is it the devil? Or is it poor choices? We have to be willing to look at ourselves and again, face the discomfort to get rid of all the time that was lost. Well, not lost, because nothing is lost. To get rid of all of that heaviness that we have been carrying. That's my distinction for today. As always, I invite you to subscribe. I just saw that there was a new subscriber that joined as I was recording this, so make sure that you subscribe. Drop me a comment to let me know what stood out to you most in this video. Check out this next one wherever it is, and I will see you soon. Let this marinate. I just want more people to assume the power that they do have. Not more, but certainly not less. Like, be right there in the power that we are supposed to adopt as according to our inheritance and the assignment that we have. See you soon.